Good afternoon, class. My name is Felicia, and I'm going to be doing my video presentation. First off, African American literature is not like the typical English classes we have taken on this journey through college. It is very informative, very interesting, very educational, and most English classes I've taken is mostly just typical reading and just writing an essay about what you've read. Although in this class we did do a lot of writing and it was topic related, it was cultural inspiration. African American literature definitely changed my perception on race first and foremost. Most importantly, we all have been through some point in our life where we have experienced some type of racism or prejudice, and but after taking this class, it seems as if we can handle the situation a little different than what we did before we knew the roots and where everything come from and why people behave the way they act, while black people behave the way they act, and while white people or people of no color act the way they act towards black people. We did some interesting readings this semester. I've noticed that no two greats of the same era had the same idea in mind or the same way of conveying their notion, shall I say. Like Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois, both great people, but they just went about doing things totally different. Also, like during the Black Power movement, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, both great civil rights leaders, but very different ways of getting people to see how we should be equal to everybody else. If I could tell people, future students, about African American literature, anything, it would be that, yeah, it's a very broad topic and can be very uncomfortable for both black people and white people, because I mean race just is of that nature. But knowledge is power, and we should know our past in an attempt to not let history repeat itself. It amazed me how so many things that we talked about before slavery still exist today, and how we can relate the 2015 aspect of things from years ago, way before we were even thought of. So that means we still have a long ways to go. Our youth, we're so colorblind, especially when we attend like HBCUs, because we never have to see the outside aspect of interacting with other colors, because we only interact with our own people. But once we get educated and enter into corporate America, it's like culture shock that these people still behave and act the way they act towards black people, as if we're not just as educated or just as good as they are. And I think that's a lot of times why we try to compete with our own race the most and find material ways to feel like we're just as good as everybody else, like buying a big house or buying a big car. Or that's how we can get ourselves to feel like we're just as good as everybody else. But we need to rely on our educational background and bring as much to the table as they can. Let them know that we're just as good as they are, and we're just as educated, and we're just as we deserve a position just as much as they do. But I'm gonna wrap this up and just say that I think we should just open our eyes and educate ourselves. That way we can educate our kids. And yeah, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so that history won't repeat itself, basically, And last but not least, don't miss that revolution.